Hey, how's it going, everybody? Welcome back to another video where I'm going to be discussing with you guys how things have been with the Pixel 9a as my main device on and off for the last 4 months since getting this phone. And yeah, so you'll get all the good, the bad, and the ugly with this one. And it's just an update to just kind of let you guys know how things are working out for me as the months go through with each security patch update, etc. Yeah, so you'll get all that in this video. But anyways, I think one of the things that people kind of focus on about the Pixel 9a is, of course, the aesthetics and the build design, as this doesn't have the traditional camera bar that people have become used to when it comes to the Google Pixel. And in my opinion, that's pretty much okay. I'm not bothered by the fact that it doesn't have a camera visor bump on it, so it's not a real big deal changer for me. Could be for others, but hey, to each his own. I kind of like the way that it looks. It's got this very clean, minimal look to it, and I'm not too bothered by that at all whatsoever. So camera bar or no camera bar, not a big deal. Of course, when you kind of look at it just a little bit more, you see the design aesthetics as far as like it having that boxy feel to it. A lot of smartphones are kind of going towards that, or we're going towards that. Now we're going towards thinner phones. But that's for another video discussion. But yeah, the Pixel 9a kind of it has that design, what they call industrial look. And to be quite honest with everybody, the side rails are metal. So the only thing that's plastic about the Pixel 9a is the backing. And when you hear a lot of content creators saying that that's not a big issue at all whatsoever, it's really not. The back of it feels like as if it was glass with like a matte coating on it. And I think that's kind of like what makes it passable for a lot of people. For me, I've never been a stickler to just have like a all glass phone. I'm totally fine using, a phone that's polycarbonate. It's not a big deal for me. My whole thing always has to do with software when it comes to smartphones, just how well does the software perform? And I can tell you guys that the software on this is performing quite well. And I'm not run into issues where I feel like, oh my God, the Tensor G4 processor is a hindrance to performance or anything like that. For what I do on my phone on a day-to-day basis, it's pretty simple. So it doesn't really require a lot, like a powerful processor, if that makes any sense. Social media really doesn't require it. I know that people kind of tend to do work on their smartphones. So like content creators will, do maybe like some heavy, extensive video editing on their phone on the fly to get a video up there for all of you guys. And then I can see why, the processor would be something that someone would technically focus on. But yeah, I make by with just like some very easy editing tools like YouTube Create or Instagram Edits or CapCut. So, and then those do fine on the Pixel 9a. I have no problem at all running it on this. So yeah, my usage is basically very light. Gaming wise, Pokemon Go. Not a heavy graphic intense game or resource hungry. It's just walking around, catching Pokemon, battling other users, gym raids, and gym battles. That's pretty much it. So in my opinion, Pokemon Go is like a light medium type graphic intense game, something that requires some resources, but not by a whole lot, not by a whole much. So gaming to me is just fine. But even if, let's say, like I'm not playing Pokemon Go, if I'm playing like Angry Birds, if I'm playing Candy Crush, something like that, it's fine. You could play games like maybe Call of Duty Mobile, or you could play what's out there like Roblox or any of that stuff, and it would do just fine. So gaming on the Pixel 9a is not a terrible experience, and the Tensor G4 processor is able to handle that. I can say that much, especially with the amount of RAM that this has. It's good to go. As far as AI tools and things like that, they do work on here. I did try out the whole Add Me thing in the camera, which also kind of goes into photography, and the whole Add Me thing, it's okay. It's not something that I would say would be a better replacement than just having two people actually in the same shot and not taking two different photos and stitching them together, because sometimes it just doesn't come out right. It is what it is, but it's something that could be worked on in future iterations of the Pixels as they develop this over time. And of course, the battery life on this thing, the battery life is just, it's just great. It's just awesome. This is one of those phones where I just like said, you know, Project Sully, which is, you know, the whole motion sense by radio wave detection. I think that could have been really cool on this device. The battery would definitely be able to handle that because it handles things right now. Like, I mean, I end the day probably with like, you know, 31 to 40% battery right before I go to bed. And so my charge cycles is never really charging from like 0 to 100%. It's usually like half the battery capacity. Audio quality on this thing is actually really good. I like watching videos on here, and you know, the audios has kind of grown on me over time since, you know, watching everybody else's videos and kind of showing my support to other content creators and listening to what they got to say. And I think the speakers on here do really good when it comes to audio and listening to music too as well. Sometimes I do that, like I'll just pop on some music, drop my phone on my desk and get to work on whatever I'm doing on my computer. So I have no problems there with the audios. The audios are pretty solid. And the cameras on here are just absolutely solid. I take some really good photos with this phone. I've never had a problem getting the type of shot that I want, or, you know, just whatever I'm doing. If I'm like out with family and I just want to capture the moment, cameras on this do absolutely well. So I have no problem with the cameras at all whatsoever. So 4 months later, after getting the phone, unboxing it and using it, I gotta say, like, I'm very impressed with the Pixel 9a. A lot of people could talk about this phone. They got the goods and the bads about it. I can tell you guys right now, there's not a lot of bad with this phone. This is probably one of those phones where I feel like that Google nailed it. Like they nailed it in making a smartphone. And the fact that it's only $499 is a very big deal on why, in my opinion, is, you know, a clear winner in my book.